After years away from the faith, a simple prayer brought my peace back. I'll share it with you. Sounds unbelievable, right? But trust me, it's real. We live in a world full of noise, where we're constantly looking for peace in all the wrong places. Self-help books, apps, social media, distractions. Yet, the peace I was craving came from something far simpler and closer to home. It was a prayer, one I had forgotten, but one that never stopped calling me back. If you've been feeling lost, anxious, or just plain overwhelmed, this prayer might be exactly what you need. In this video, I'm going to walk you through it and explain why each part is more powerful than you might think. By the end, I hope you'll be inspired to bring this prayer into your own life and rediscover the peace that's been waiting for you all along. It was a time of inner turmoil. After years of drifting away from faith, there was a lingering emptiness, a void that no amount of distractions could fill. Life had become a whirlwind of busyness, but beneath the surface was a deep unrest. You know, that kind of anxiety that nags at you, even in quiet moments. It's like being thirsty, but never finding water that satisfies. The peace you once had seemed unreachable, almost like a distant memory, clouded by doubt and busyness. You might not realize it at first, but there's a difference between just existing and truly living. And the moment of realization can hit you unexpectedly, perhaps in the middle of the night when everything is quiet and you're alone with your thoughts. That's when you start asking yourself, what's missing? It's not always an immediate answer, but the unsettling feeling is hard to ignore. People turn to a lot of things to find peace. Mindfulness apps, self-help books, even scrolling mindlessly on social media. But those solutions feel temporary, don't they? It's when the noise gets overwhelming that some find themselves thinking about prayer again. Maybe it's a last resort, or perhaps a memory of a time when prayer brought a sense of calm and comfort. There's something humbling about admitting you need help beyond what the world can offer. Returning to prayer doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it's just a quiet whisper in the heart, a gentle nudge saying, come back. There's peace here, but it's easy to resist at first because after so much time away, there's this hesitation. What if it's too late? Yet, the moment you decide to reconnect, to even whisper a simple prayer, something shifts. It's almost like unclenching a fist you didn't realize was tightly shut. And this is where the journey begins, not in grand gestures, but in that small, tentative step toward peace. A peace that the world can't give, but is found in a place many forget to look: prayer. The prayer that brought back peace wasn't long or complicated. It was the Our Father. You've likely heard it countless times, but when you truly reflect on each word, it becomes much more than just a routine. The prayer starts with Our Father, a simple but powerful phrase that reminds us we're not alone. God isn't some distant force. He's a loving Father, deeply involved in our lives. Think about it. When was the last time you felt that sense of belonging, knowing that you're part of something greater, part of a family? That's what this prayer opens with, an invitation to step into that connection. Hallowed be thy name. This line is all about reverence, recognizing that there's something sacred beyond the mundane. We live in a world that often pushes us to glorify ourselves. But here, we're reminded to honor something far higher than any of our personal achievements. And honestly, there's comfort in that. It takes the pressure off. We don't have to be the center of everything. We just have to trust in something greater, something holy. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Now, this is where things get a bit deeper. It's about surrender. And let's be honest, surrender is hard, especially in a world that teaches us to always be in control. But here's the twist. Real peace doesn't come from controlling every detail. It comes from letting go, trusting in God's plan. It's like when you're caught in a storm, and instead of fighting the wind, you let yourself flow with it, trusting you'll end up where you're meant to be. And then we ask, give us this day our daily bread. Such a simple request, but profound in its humility. It's not about asking for wealth or success. It's about asking for just enough for today. We live in a culture of excess, always wanting more. But this line teaches us contentment, grounding us in the present moment, and trusting that God will provide for what we need, one day at a time. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. This part of the Our Father holds a power that's often overlooked. It's about forgiveness, which can feel like both a gift and a burden. On one hand, we're asking for God's mercy, a grace that's freely given. But on the other, we're committing to forgive others in the same way. That's a tough ask, isn't it? How many times have we held on to grudges, feeling justified in our anger or pain? Forgiveness is hard, but it's also the key to unlocking true freedom. Imagine this. Carrying unforgiveness is like walking around with a heavy backpack full of rocks. Every slight, every wrong done to you is another rock added. You might not even notice the weight at first, but over time, it becomes unbearable. When you ask for forgiveness in this prayer, it's like dropping that backpack. And when you extend forgiveness to others, it's freeing them from the weight they've caused too. It's not about excusing their behavior. It's about releasing your heart from the chains of bitterness. But why is this so important to the prayer? Because holding on to anger or resentment blocks peace. The Our Father teaches us that peace comes not just from being forgiven, but from forgiving. When Jesus taught this prayer, he knew the human heart's tendency to cling to hurt. He knew that true reconciliation, both with God and with others, would be the path to real peace. So, as hard as it is, forgiving isn't just about being kind. It's about healing ourselves. This is also where the grace of prayer really shines. When you find it difficult to forgive, you can ask for strength in prayer. You don't have to do it alone. Each time you say these words, it's a step closer to letting go of what holds you back. And the more you forgive, the lighter your spirit becomes. It's a beautiful cycle, receiving forgiveness, offering forgiveness, and finding peace in the process. The prayer ends with a powerful plea. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. This is more than just a request for protection. It's a guide for how to live daily. Every day, we face choices, moments where we're tempted to take the easy path, the selfish path, or even the harmful one. This part of the Our Father reminds us to stay vigilant, to be aware of the things that can pull us away from God's peace. It's not just about avoiding obvious sins, but also the small compromises we make that, over time, lead us down the wrong road. Living out this prayer means staying conscious of the choices we make. It could be as simple as deciding not to gossip when it's so easy to join in, or choosing to spend a few moments in quiet reflection instead of losing yourself in the noise of the world. We ask God to deliver us from evil, not because we're helpless, but because we recognize that we need His help to stay on the right path. There's a humility in this, acknowledging that we can't always do it alone. But it's also about trust. When you pray for deliverance from evil, you're placing your faith in God's protection. It's like being a child, reaching for a parent's hand when the road gets rough. You might not see the dangers ahead, but you trust that the one guiding you does. In a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, this trust brings immense peace. It's the kind of peace that comes from knowing you're cared for, that even when things go wrong, you're not walking through it alone. Applying this in daily life means carrying the spirit of the prayer with you everywhere you go. It's not just something to say in the morning or at church. It's a mindset, a constant dialogue with God. When challenges come up, big or small, you can return to this prayer as a reminder of where your strength comes from. It's like having an anchor that keeps you grounded, no matter what the storm looks like. And in that, you'll find the peace you've been searching for. So, now that you've seen how powerful this prayer is, what's stopping you from trying it? Imagine what could change in your life if you just took a few moments each day to pause, pray, and reconnect with something greater than yourself. How different would your days feel if you let go of the weight you've been carrying and asked for God's guidance, forgiveness, and peace? I challenge you. Try this prayer for the next week and see how it impacts you. You might be surprised at the sense of calm that starts to settle in your heart. And when you do, share your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear how it's working for you. Ready to take your faith journey to the next level? Get your copy of the yearly prayer and reflection journal today and experience the power of daily prayer, reflection, and spiritual growth. Whether you're seeking a deeper connection with God, looking for guidance, or simply need a source of encouragement, This journal is your perfect companion. Don't wait. Start your transformative journey now and let God's Word shape your life, one day at a time. Click the link in the comments and begin living a more purposeful, faith-filled year. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss more videos that'll help you deepen your faith. Let's keep growing together.